Coming to you direct from Silencer Shop Studios, home of the glass case of emotion.
SilencerShop.com, the easiest way to buy silencers online, period.
Stand by for education, enlightenment, enjoyment, and entertainment.
He's not here to talk about your feelings. He's not here to say what you want to hear. He's here to say what needs to be said.
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, please welcome your host, the pimp hand of America, Professor Paul Markle.
Woohoo! All right, welcome to the middle of the week already. What? The week's almost over? That's crazy talk. That's crazy talk. Oh man, I tell you, I'm happy, Jared. I'm excited. You want to know why I'm excited?
Why?
I made him turn his microphone on just to say the word "why." I'm mean. No, I'm actually excited because I got an email from Brownells telling me that a number of the parts that I require for my AR-15 pistol project that they have shipped. That's something that I know you guys probably appreciate it when you order something from a company and you get the confirmation email that says, "Hey, P.S. this is on its way." It makes you feel a little happy, a little giddy. You're like, "Woo, all right." And at the same time, I also feel if I don't get a notification from a company, sometimes I feel a little bit nervous, like because so many people do the notifications today. You order something online, they say, "Hey, confirmation, here's the tracking number, your stuff's on its way." What are you doing over there, Crazy?
Getting ready.
Getting ready? Are you getting ready to do your thing? What day is today? It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
I got an idea. Why don't I refer to my show notes? I could do that. I should refer to my show notes to make sure that
I think that's a grand idea.
I'm doing everything. And don't yell at me for picking up my phone because
don't pick up your phone.
No, it's too late. I already did. It's in my hand. I want to talk to you guys. How many of you guys out there are like me and you have adult children, right? You're
age-wise.
Yeah, age-wise. And your kids grow up and, then they start like having their own lives and moving around and doing different things and what have you. And you end up with these things called the family message thread. How many of you guys out there have experienced this? Like, you need to make sure that everyone in the family has a piece of information. I'll give you an example. This weekend, Jared decided that we're going to do something as a family down here on the Gulf Coast. And I said, "Hey, did you make sure your sister knows and, your mom?" And he's like, "No, So he created a family message thread. "Hey, everybody in the family, we're going to meet on Wednesday at this time, at this place. Be there, be square." And so that was all the information that I required as the dad. I know where to be and when to be there. That's it. I don't need anything else. I don't need all the other stuff. Well, then my beautiful daughter jumps in and she's like, "Well, should I bring my boyfriend?" "Yes, go ahead, bring your boyfriend." "Well, what should we bring?" "I don't care." Well, then the wife jumps in. Then we get smiley faces. Then we get these, what do they call them? What do you kids call them, Jerry? Do you call them GIFs or GIFs?
It's a GIF because it's a graphic image file.
Yeah, but the man who invented it
Don't
pronounced it GIF. The person who actually created it pronounced it GIF. So then we get the smiley face emojis. Then we get the laugh emojis. Then we start dropping in this, and then we start talking about movies. "Did you see that movie yet?" Then we're like, "Oh no, well, what are we going to eat? What are we going to drink? Should I bring my sunglasses?" Yes. Here's and so the wife says to me, Did you get that information?" "Yeah." "Well, did you see what we were talking about?" And my answer is no. Once you lunatics took over the thread, I'm out. Do you guys experience that? You're like, here's what I need to know. I need to know this. And I'm holding my fingers 2 inches apart. I need to know the 2 inches apart. And the women jump in and they turn the 2 inches to this. and I'm like I caught a large bass. Has anyone else experienced that? I don't know. If I was Bill Engvall, I could make $1 million telling that story, but I'm not. So. The family message thread, it just gets out of hand. All right. Oh, is it time for our new radio spot? I'm kind of excited about that. Speaking of which, did you send it up to those guys? Or are they going to actually they're going to use it locally?
I gave it to them. I don't know if they'll use it or not.
Okay, well, if
but
they don't.
It's
shame on them.
Yeah, it's given to them, and they should use it. I know they listen. So.
It's in their hands. Hey, this is Professor Paul Markle, host of Student of the Gun Radio and the Pimp Hand of America, and I'm inviting you to join the entire Student of the Gun crew on November 5th at 11 a.m. in the morning at Brothers in Arms Gun Range in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Come out and help us celebrate freedom, liberty, your Second Amendment rights, and in addition to all that, I'm going to tell you how to get the most out of one box of ammo. All right. And thank you for Madison Rising for providing that. And who were the first people in the Student of the Gun audience to hear the new Madison Rising song? Grad program. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So congratulations, all you grad program crazies out there.
I was like, do you want names? Because I'm not really sure.
The individuals. Yes, I want to know who the individuals were that heard it first now. Crossbreed holsters, why? Well, because they make the most comfortable, highest quality inside of the waistband holster you're ever going to buy. Now, you can buy cheaper holsters, and then you can live with a box of regret, or you can just buy a quality holster and move on with your life. And go check those guys out at crossbreedholsters.com. And, are we there yet? We're so close, aren't we? With the big, super cool announcement.
Yeah, we're close.
Oh, all right. So pay attention, kids. Crossbreed holsters. Frog Lube. It's green. It's minty fresh. It's a bio-based firearms lubricant. And yes, indeed, I did frog lube my M37 trench gun. And I frog lube my bayonet, too. So there's that. You can get Frog Lube at Brownells, or you can get it from froglube.com. Century Arms, the sweetest smelling arms maker in the U.S. of A. If you have not checked them out lately, you owe it to yourself to do so, because they got a lot of new products that you probably were not aware of. And I have been assured by the folks at Century that the micro red dot mounts for the new C39 V2 and the C39 V2 rifle, the SBR, and the pistol, all the new ones will accept the micro red dot mount, and they are shipping those now. And last but certainly not least in my in the hit parade here is Duracoat. Why? Why Duracoat? Because life is too short to be carrying around an ugly gun or a rusty gun or whatever. So check Duracoat out at Lauer Weaponry, or you can buy Duracoat products at Brownells. So there you have it. It's Wednesday. Time for Fighting Fitness, brought to you by SWAT Fuel.
Yes, Fighting Fitness. And I wanted to open up the lines to you guys. I'm actually willing to answer your questions if you have some. So just call 682-207-7684, and you can leave a question on the Warrior of the Week line, and I'll play it on here and answer it if there is an answer for you.
You're going to do that too?
Yeah.
But they don't get the free bottle. They just get the information.
No, just the information.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to help you, and I don't know how to help you if you don't tell me. So.
Fantastic, big body out in the big Titanic, woman and nice, sweet, energetic, big body out in the big Titanic, woman and nice, sweet, fantastic, big body out in the big Titanic, woman and nice, sweet, fantastic, big body out in the big Titanic. I like to move it, I like to move it,
This week I want to talk about remaining calm when something happens. All right, I was actually at the fights last weekend, at the local fights here at the IP Casino. And I noticed that there were some amateur fights and there were some pro fights, but I noticed that during a majority of the amateur fights, the fighters were nervous. And the ones that panicked, or maybe they didn't panic, but they weren't as calm as they should have been. And they didn't do as well as they could have, or as well as they probably did in the gym, because of their nerves. They were so on edge. And how do you overcome that? It's really super simple. You just practice. You train. You learn from your coach, and then you practice what you learn. And by doing that, your body will automatically take over. When you go to lizard brain mode, because that's what happens when you're in a life or death situation or you're in a sporting event where there's a lot of people there and you get nervous, your body will just take over. It'll do whatever you've trained it to do the most. And who said it? That you'll default to the level that you've mastered?
Well, I don't know who said it originally. Jaeger says it. The people at Tactical Response say it, but that the community, the training, the modern training community has accepted that, and it really is. I mean, it's true. I saw it when I was in the Marine Corps many moons ago, and yeah, all this nonsense about people, Americans, and I guess not just Americans, humans in general, they delude themselves into believing that somehow they're going to be granted this magical power at the moment of at the go time. I was going to say the moment of conception, but that's not a completely different thing there. That at that moment, I don't do that. I'm not paranoid like you. I don't feel the need to waste money on training. If the time ever comes when I need it, I'll know what to do.
No, you won't.
Really?
You'll know what not to do.
If the time ever comes when you need it, you'll know what to do. See, because you think that time it's like the square range where the coach walks up and says, okay, are you ready? You have everything? Did you load your gun? Oh, you did? Okay. Shooters. All right, shooters ready on the left. Stand by. And on my command, fire. That's not how it works. There's not going to be a coach rubbing your shoulders and telling you how good of a job you're doing. You have to do it on command immediately. Not shooter stand by. Is everyone ready? Oh, no, hold on. Okay, I'm not ready yet. Okay, I'm ready now. No, that's not how it works. If you can't do it on command, when I say go, if I say go and snap my fingers, if you can't do it, then it's not going to get done. You're not going to magically have this. But we do this all the time, dude. I hear this still. Well, I don't know. I think I'm pretty good. I know what I'm doing. Okay, congratulations. You think you're pretty good. You know what you're doing. And you know what? You might get away with that. There are people that get away with, I'm pretty good all the time. They do. And it's because the person that they encounter, the bad guy, is a level 1. Right? Jared, what's a level 1? There's 3 levels of felonious bad guys that you will encounter in your life. A 1, a 2, and a 3.
And that information is actually inside of the Armed Living DVD. If you haven't watched it yet, you can get the full version.
Oh, that's right. That was the Lanyap that we gave them in there.
Yeah.
That's something
But go ahead and tell them what a number 1 is.
Okay, the level 1 bad guy is the bad guy that will stop his bad behavior when he's confronted with some type of determined force. You pull out a gun and you point it at him and you say, stop right there. And he says, oh, that's a gun. I understand that thing could kill me, so I'm going to stop. I'm going to go find somebody else. Or you like pepper spray or whatever. Actually, not even level 1's not really even pepper spray. It's the determined show of force. It's resolution. And you say, stop. And you point a gun at them. Or I have a gun, get away. And they're like, oh, crap, this isn't going to be any fun for me. And then they run away. And that's good. Thumbs up. But the problem is not every bad guy out there in the world is that guy. There are some people that are not impressed by that have spent their entire lives abusing other humans. And they encounter, you guys understand, bad guys encounter cops every day. They see them, they encounter them, they interact with them. And seeing a cop with a pistol on his belt is no big deal. It doesn't make them afraid. They don't really care. And for you, as the good guy, do you want to train just well enough? Or, it comes down to, Jared.
What?
Really, I mean, we kind of left the rails a little bit with the calmness. But the fact of the matter is when you perform the right way, it's not something that you consciously tell yourself to do because it's already there.
And you probably won't even remember that you actually did it.
That you did that. I mean, I've actually been in encounters where people told me, they're like, oh, and then you did that. And like literally they said, oh, and then I saw you do that. And I thought to myself, that's interesting because I don't remember doing that. I mean, it's not that I don't believe that it wasn't possible. It's not like I'm saying, no, there's no way I did that. It's because you just know what to do.
Yeah.
Oh, and we really don't have time to get into like, the knowing just enough karate to get your butt kicked and things like that. And but the fact of the matter is, if you want to be calm in a panic, if you want to be calm in the storm, if you want to have that grace under pressure, what have you, you've got to instill it beforehand. It's not something that you get at that moment. Oh,
and one thing that panic takes away technique, and technique always trumps strength. Well, not always, but most of the time it trumps strength. And what my advice, if you are a fighter, if you're a martial artist, and even if you are in an encounter where it's a life and death situation, for fighters and people that are not in a life and death situation, I would recommend that you keep your hands up, step back, take a few deep breaths just to make yourself calm. Though that breathing technique, the breathing technique will help you calm down. But if you are in a life or death situation, then I would recommend that you first find cover and then work on the breathing.
Or yell, shout, or stop. Oh,
yell, shout.
Yell, shout. Shout! You can yell, shout if you want. Shout, stop!
You want to let it all out?
Let it all out. These are the things I can do without. Come on. Oh, man, I tell you what. But no, you know who, when you say panic, always technique, and panic takes away technique, and technique trumps strength. Something that Spalding likes to say in his classes as the distance favors the skilled. And the greater distance you can get between you and the bad guy, the greater advantage you have that the person with actual skill has in the fight. And that distance, and it doesn't need to be great. It could be like 7 yards. You're like, 7 yards is easy, dude. I can hit a target 7 yards all day long, every day. Yeah, but you're not panicking and people aren't moving and so on and so forth. The greater distance you can get between the skill, it goes to, the win usually goes to the most skilled person. And it's not somebody who, this is the thing, Jared. I've had so many examples of this working in my life that I don't need to convince myself that it is. I know that it does. Like, for instance, the first when I was in the ground war with 6 Marines, and I witnessed the guys on my team doing exactly what they were supposed to do, exactly as they had trained to do. Only when we trained, there wasn't artillery exploding all around us. There wasn't smoke. There wasn't the fog of war. There wasn't the noise and all that. But despite all that, you say, well, high stress, incoming and outgoing artillery, mortar fire.
That's not stressful.
Smoke, yells, tanks firing, crap like that. And yet you do exactly what you've trained to do over and over and over again. And even though when you were doing the training, you're like, this is so boring. Basic infantry training is so boring because everyone thinks, oh, man, you get to shoot guns all day long, man. You just are shooting guns.
Remember when?
No, that's not what you're doing.
You remember in Ohio at John Saylor's place where he would have, I don't know if he had the entire class do it, but I know when he was working with me, he would put me with a freaking band, just one single stretchy band, and he would have me do a throw technique.
Throws with the band.
Over and over. I'm like, man, this is boring. I want to throw a person.
Yeah.
But that thing alone helped my throw technique. And to this
I forgot
day,
about that.
To this
about
day,
the grabbing the band and doing the throw with the band.
If I'm like, I took a couple months off after my fight, and then I took a couple more months off, and then I went back and I was training, and to this day, I hadn't done anything in probably 6 months, and I did a perfect throw coming off of 6 months of doing nothing. And so that we're going way off track.
Yeah,
here.
we're way off.
But that learning stuff in the beginning, teaching your body to do it right in the beginning is very important.
Yes, indeed. All right, so I guess the moral of the story is calmness wins the fight, and the way you become calm, or the way you keep yourself calm, is to have confidence. How do you have genuine, real confidence in yourself? Through actually doing it. People say, well, the people that say, well, if it's ever real, I'll know what to do. You don't have genuine confidence. Confidence comes from success. It comes from achievement. It comes from winning little battles every single day. That's how you get genuine confidence, and that's how you can achieve success. So I suggest that you do that. That would be my suggestion to you.
Attention, new listeners. We produced a free training video series called 7 Training Tips That Could Save Your Life. We want you to have access to this life-saving information. Get instant access now at studentofthegun.com. Do you watch Student of the Gun TV, read the blog, and follow us on Facebook? If you answered no to any of those questions, you are wrong, but you can easily fix yourself. Go to studentofthegun.com to find everything SOTG.
Yes, indeed, Miss Alex. Thank you for reminding everyone to do that. Patriot Fire Team, cutting through the clutter. So let's go ahead and go back. Now, Monday we talked about carrying the load and looking for LMIs, or like-minded individuals. And then yesterday we talked about taking the next step, setting goals, trying to determine in a practical and realistic sense what you can be expected to encounter, what are the problems you can anticipate, and how are we going to solve those problems? What are we going to do to address the potential issues or problems that we may have? And once we've done that, once we once we've established our goals, then it's time to cut through the clutter. And, the internet is the ultimate modern double-edged sword. It cuts both ways. The great thing about the internet, obviously, is the fact that you can sit down with any device and just clickety-clickety-click, put in a couple of words, and come up with tons of information about whatever. You can't even, and sometimes you need to get way more specific, because if you just type in the word gun, you get too much. And that's the good thing. The good thing is we have instant access to tons of information. The bad thing is that we have instant access to tons of information that anybody can put there. The Wikipedia, I think Sheila Jackson Lee is involved in, she's going to be putting forth a bill to restrict access to Wikipedia now, and because Wikipedia is reckless and they need to be stopped. If you don't know that story, look it up. But how do you sort through all of the forum chatter, the Facebook chatter, and that doesn't even include, standing around at a gun show or a gun shop or what have you. How do you know what really is a valuable tool and what is just an expensive toy? Do you need to have a $269 key mod aluminum rail on your gun? Now, you might want one, and that's great. And if you got a crap ton of disposable income, drive on. But if the gun has a heat shield or handguard on it from the factory that works, and you've got $270, rather than spending $270 on a key mod forend, I might want to invest $270 in MREs. How many MREs, case MREs, can you get for $270? I don't know, 3-4 cases, something like that. Things of that nature. Let's say you don't have a plate carrier, or you do have a plate carrier, and you want to add magazine pouches or what have you. How do you know what is practical and what is junk? And this isn't just a citizen thing. This goes across the entire board. There are police, as a cop, and I haven't talked about being a cop in a long time, but one of the things that used to just hack me off was when police would tell me they can't do training because they don't have the budget. Oh, well, we just don't have the budget, blah, blah, blah. And after I'd been around for a while, I knew what a load of horse crap that was. And I could tell them, okay, you don't have the budget for training? Walk with me. Let's go out to your cruiser. Let's go out to the cruisers. Open the trunks, open the doors. Let's look inside. Let's see all the super cool gee whiz gadgets and gizmos that you have. Or better yet, let's go to the equipment locker, because every agency has a dedicated like closet or something that is an equipment locker. Let's go into your equipment locker. Open it up. On the shelves are really expensive things that you just were sure you had to have. Oh, we've got to have this. And you name it. If you're a cop, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, man, this company came out with this new thing, and it's going to be the greatest invention ever. And then you bought it and you found out that it was completely impractical and it ended up in the gear locker. And now it's a $500 mistake or $1,000 mistake. For all of the we don't have money for training, I could go to any cruiser in America and look in the trunk and say, really? You had money to buy this stupid, ridiculous garbage, but you don't have money for training? No, it's all about priorities. But the reason I push the training and why we push it so hard is because it gives you the experience and the education and the understanding to know what you need. That's the great thing about training. Training is not real life. Training is not life or death. It's not supposed to be. So if you go out on a training mission or a training operation or just a training day and you realize, man, I really need one of these, whatever these is, that's cool. You have time to fix yourself. If it's the real world and you're in a situation where you really need one of those and you don't have it in the real world, well, that makes life a little bit more exciting now, doesn't it? Or things fail. Gear fails. What? Gear never fails. Yeah, gear fails. Now, gear will very rarely fail when you take it out of the box, when you're at home or in your office or whatever, your workplace, and you take the gear out of the box and you look at it and you rub it maniacally with an oily rag and you're all happy about it. Maybe you even put the stuff on and you play dress up, G.I. Joe in front of the mirror. And you're like, man, this is rock on. This is good stuff. Yeah. And it's not going to fail then. If you're going to find a weakness, if you're going to determine a weakness in that product, in that gear, you're going to find it when you actually get out into the field and use it. Are those boots comfortable? Yeah, these boots are great. Well, I put them on and I walked around the house and took them off and put them back in the box. And I'm going to take them to the next school that I go to. Bro, don't do that to yourself. Don't do that. Put the boots on and keep them on your feet. And if they can stay comfortably on your feet for 10 to 12 hours, those are good boots. But people do that all the time. People will actually go on these hunt of a lifetime deals where they go on an elk hunt. They draw a tag. And they've been trying for 12 years to draw an elk tag. And they get the tag. And they've never been on an elk hunt. They've never actually been out of a deer blind. But, man, they want to go hunt an elk. So they'll do things. So, like, they'll buy the gear. Like, they'll go and order the gear, buy it, pack it, and then show up at the hunt and put that gear on, whether it's pack or load-bearing gear or whether it's foul weather gear or boots or whatever. They'll put it on for the first time when they arrive. And the guide's like, okay, get in the truck. We're going up into the mountains. They're like, oh man, this doesn't work. This is broke. This is uncomfortable. Duh. People do that all the time. You got to stop doing that. Take your gear to training. You're like, yeah, but I have to have the gear for the training. No, listen up, bro. If you're going to go to a training school, let's say you're going to do a 2 or 3 day pistol or rifle or whatever, go to the website, get the minimum gear list. Do it. On every reputable school in America has a gear list site, right? You go to that page, boom. It says, these are things you have to have. Now, there's a lot of other stuff that you can take, but this is the minimum gear list. And if you've never taken training, if you've never gone to a school, if you've never done anything like that, just fill the minimum gear list. Now, don't try to skirt around it because you're going to make a mistake and then you're going to have a bad time. But once you get there, you take the training, then you realize, you might realize, hey, man, if I would have had one of these, it would have made my life a lot easier. if I would have had one of those. Or you think, well, I bought this holster and this, and I went through the class and I had to struggle the whole time because it was a cheap piece of crap. There you go. What did we learn? We learned something. So sadly, I can't tell you what you're going to, because I don't know where you are and what you're doing. I can't tell you what you're going to need. And the only way, you say, there's so much stuff. I mean, I go to this surplus website, I go to this one, whatever I go to, and there's so much stuff. What do I need and what don't I need? Here's what you don't need. $500 of the ambidextrous controls on your AR-15. Please, for the love of God, for the love of all that is holy, stop putting all this ridiculous sticking out add-on crap onto your rifle. Or do, you know what? On second thought, do. It's your life. But someday someone might hand you a rifle and say, here you go. And that rifle doesn't have all of your favorite widget, gidget, ambidextrous add-on stuff. What are you going to do? Oh, thanks for the rifle, man, but I need you to go ahead and put an ambidextrous bolt release and an ambidextrous thumb safety and an extended bolt catch. And can you do that and give me that gun back? Oh, I never thought about that, did I? Yeah, you never thought about that, did you? Okay. So you want to know what you need, what you should have? Get some training, get some experience on your belt. All right, let's move on to Brownell's bullet points. Jared, are you ready? Are you gonna pop us in there? All right. Okay, kids, let's go ahead and we're going to talk a little bit about muzzle devices. Now, if you are a slave and you are listening to the sound of my voice in a slave state, then you can just listen for educational purposes. But the fact of the matter is, if you're going to use a black rifle or any kind of self-loading rifle, any kind of a true battle rifle, I'm not talking about a bolt-action rifle that you're going to fire one shot at a deer and then maybe a second shot. I'm talking about actual fighting rifles. If you're going to use a fighting rifle, it needs to have some type of a muzzle device on it. Now, here's the hint. Here's the conundrum that we find ourselves in. There's a sinister plan, a sinister plot afoot, and it started several years ago. There's a sinister plot to convince you to put all kinds of stupid game nonsense on your guns, and it's called 3-gun. And the three, I know, Jared, how many 3-gunners did I just jumped out of their chairs and started screaming at their iPod? Stop yourself. Stop yourself right now. If you are a 3-gunner and you installed a compensator muzzle brake, you installed a muzzle brake on your rifle, and what that thing does is it took a 5.56 and made it louder, you're wrong. You are wrong like dick cancer. If you installed a muzzle brake or a compensator on your gun and that drives the gas from your muzzle straight out to the sides and back onto the people that are shooting next to you, you are wrong like dick cancer. And you need to stop it. If you installed a device that controls the gas, that directs the gas upwards and forwards away from yourself and the people that are next to you, you're a good guy. There are so many different types of muzzle brakes and compensators and flash hiders. Flash hider really isn't it's not a hip term today. Flash hider was a hip term back in the 80s and 90s, not so much in the 70s even, but not so much today. But here's what I'm going to tell you. If you have a self-loading rifle, whether it's an AK, an M14, a Mini 14, an AR-15, whatever, it needs to have some type of a muzzle device on it. Now, if that muzzle device, there are muzzle devices out there that actually make the guns more obnoxious. I know. You're like, how can that possibly be? And I'm baffled as well. But the fact of the matter is, you have to ask yourself, what am I doing with this gun? Does the muzzle device actually dampen the flash? If the answer is yes, good. Does the muzzle device help me? You're like, yeah, Paul, but my 3-gun muzzle brake, that I can shoot 5,000 rounds rapid fire and I never come off target. Okay, great. But it actually makes the gun louder because it's forcing the gas to the side and back towards the people that are standing next to you. If I was there's no way I would be on a team with a knucklehead that had one of these race brakes, these competition brakes. I've been on ranges with people where they do that, and those people need to be slapped with that's a rule of thumb there. I would take a stick that's the thickness of my thumb and slap them with it because they need to just stop themselves. Now, obviously, the best way to control the gas on your gun is to put a silencer or a suppressor on it. That is the best way. If you cannot do that for some reason, if you live in a slave state or if it's not practical or whatever, if you have a legit reason why you can't do that, okay, great. There are other types of devices that you can use. And I'm going to tell you this, the barking spider from Spikes doesn't give me a dime, okay? We are not sponsored by Spikes Tactical. They're our friends. Mookie is a good friend of ours. Cole, are you listening, Cole? I hope so. If you're not listening, shame on you. But the folks at Spikes are friends of ours. And I tell you what, when I first discovered the barking spider muzzle brake compensator from, I was like, dude, this is insane. Jared, am I lying or am I dying?
Yeah, that's what you did.
Yep, that's what I did. Something that actually Brownells has that's really super cool is for those of you guys that have I think it's a 51-tooth muzzle brake or a silencer adapter, suppressor adapter for your black rifles or even ARs or whatever.
Those things that go
those
bang.
things. It's a muzzle device. Now, sometimes when you don't have the suppressor on there, it's just like a muzzle brake, and it can be, well, it forces the gas to the top and the sides and the back. They actually made something. AAC has a device where if for some reason you cannot have or choose not to have your silencer on your gun at that time, they've actually got kind of a blast deflector that you just thread on over the existing silencer adapter to direct the gas forward away from the shooter. Bros, it makes a difference. How many of you guys out there that are listening to me have been on a range, and everybody on the range had a good muzzle device on their gun except for that one jackass that showed up from New Jersey or New York? And they wanted to stand in the middle of you with their cut barrel, their clean barrel AR, and cack, while everybody else. Jared, I think we've talked about it before. No, we were in Texas at a Ken Hackathorn class. And Ken did a pistol and rifle class that Wilson Combat sponsored. What everybody on the range but 2 or 3 had the kindness and to show up with a suppressor for their black rifles. Remember that?
Yeah.
Well, there were 3 douchebags in the class, and I'm sorry, but there were 3 guys that they were playing the douchebag game. One guy was from New Jersey, had one of these cut barrel New Jersey legal rifles. One guy was from New York, but he didn't keep his rifle in New York. It had to live with a friend in Virginia, but it had no muzzle device on it. And then another guy showed up with an SBR with no muzzle, he had a muzzle brake, or he had something on it. He had a device, but no silencer. So you had like 10 guys that had cans. And that's a great, man, folks, if you've never been on a training range where people were using suppressors, you don't know what you're missing because you can actually communicate back and forth with each other. If you're laying down prone and you're doing long distance shooting and a guy's laying to the left or the right of you and they're like, cool. It's like someone punches you in the head, constantly. So don't be that guy. Don't be that guy that shows up being all muzzle rude, all gas rude like that. And for the love of all that's holy, if you have an SBR, put some kind of a freaking device on that thing that's going to direct the gas forward, not to the sides, onto the people that are with you. And if you live in a slave state where you don't understand, I'm not allowed. Well, I guess you've chosen to be a slave, and this is modern America, and you can choose to be a slave, and that's fun for you. But I don't want to be on the line next to you. I guess that's the way. That's just the way that is. Man, there are so many freaking brakes and muzzle devices, and so I'm on Brownells right now, and I'm flittering around and going back and forth. There's so many different types, but I can tell you this personal experience. Basically, your standard M16A2 muzzle device, if that's what you've got on there, all right, that's good. Leave it be. Are there better devices than that? Yes, there are, but that is a good one. They knew what they were doing when they designed that. The truth is actually the slant brake on the AKs does pretty well. Are there better devices? Yes, there are. Are there devices that actually make your 5.56 more loud and even more obnoxious? Yes, and that's when we run into problems. But if you're going to have a black rifle, a self-loaded rifle, do yourself and do everyone else around you a favor and put some type of muzzle device on that thing. And I guess, Jared, that brings me up to the fact that I really, really need to get over and see our good buddy. I need to see our good buddy Zach over at Ackless, because he's gonna help me fix an issue that I have. Well, the issue that I have is I have an AK, a C39 micro pistol, and it has a muzzle device on it. But even with the muzzle device, it's still pretty brutal. And he's going to help me install an even better one, and that should improve things dramatically. All right, Jared, do you have anything else you want to tell the folks at home? Because if not, I think we're going to go ahead and pull the cork on this one.
Just their homework assignment. Share this episode with one person that would appreciate it.
There you go. One person that would appreciate it. And they will appreciate that. And we will appreciate you. And we'll be back tomorrow with the last day of the public broadcast. And we're going to talk about the Patriot Fire Team. What is the missing component? Talked about gear and talked about LMIs, but what's the missing component? We're going to talk about it tomorrow. Until then, remember, you're a beginner once, but you should indeed be a student for life.